It is the Friday team's press conference ahead of the German Grand Prix, round 12 of the Season 4 Championship, 8 races till the end. We have 5 team bosses at present, so let's introduce them. We have Jiri Marta, team boss of Suomi Grand Prix, Cameron Anderson, team boss of Martini Motorsport, Sean Grant, team boss of Bud Light Lime Motorsport, George Rote, team boss of George Rote Motorsport, and James Wallows, team boss of East Midlands Racing. So I'm going to start off with Jiri. So Jiri, a very good weekend from Raikkonen. Probably one of his best races, it must be said, and a very good overtake on Valtteri to get a podium.
Yeah, it was good.
Put it into one word of context.
I can't say anything else.
So Magnussen also had quite a good comeback after what had been another disappointing qualifying session for him. Initially, it was ninth, but after Perez's demotion, he was promoted to 8th place. So overall, another good weekend for you, you'd have to say.
Yeah, overall it was good. I think Magnussen is currently not having pace, but anyway, it's going good for Kimi. He is very close to being third in the championship and doing really well.
Okay, we would move on to Robert Ionescu, but he's not even here because his driver finished in 4th.
Where is he?
I actually don't know, to be honest. So I'm going to move on to James. So James, obviously, to put it this way, of course, a tricky qualifying session in France, but good comeback drives from both Hülkenberg and Vettel, but Vettel again running into bad luck.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Well, it's just how it is lately, isn't it? We're just shitting qualifying. We somewhat improve in the race, and then we'll get bad luck from one of the cars. So hopefully we've just got to pray for improvements on both sides.
Okay, so obviously Hülkenberg moved up to 5th in a race, so I guess that is something in your regard, you'd have to say.
Yeah, but it's not where we want to be, though, is it?
Okay, I'll move on to George on this one. So George, obviously, so far this season it hasn't been going according to plan, but at last, some good luck in France.
Yeah, it was some good luck at last. I mean, the one strategy, actually, I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it did work out in the end. I mean, even though Ricciardo did drop off a bit with regards to pace, I'd hoped he maybe could have pitted maybe just a little bit later, but it all worked out in the end. I mean, had we got no points at the end of the weekend, I would have been very disappointed. But we did get a bit lucky, obviously, with the Ocon and Massa crash, and with Grosjean hitting Ocon's car. But we got 8th place, and obviously moving up to 7th with the penalty for Perez. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
So obviously moving on to this weekend, Germany. It's obviously a track that is a good memory for your team because it's obviously where you took your first victory. But considering it's a high-speed track, would you say that, considering the pace you've had this season, do you think you'd struggle around here, or do you believe that you'll be continuing on from that points race in France?
I do think it is probably going to be quite tough, to be honest. I'm not expecting that much. I mean, if we get points, that would be nice, but I'm not expecting huge amounts for the weekend.
Okay, moving on to Sean. Sean, obviously, it wasn't the best weekend for Bud Light Lime Motorsport, it has to be said, for a while, and especially Grosjean clipping Ocon while he was rolling over. Was that? I'm guessing that was a little bit of a scare from your end, it must be said.
I mean, obviously having a driver nearly have his head taken off is not the most pleasant thing to be watching as the team boss, but it was still a promising weekend. We showed good pace. Unfortunately, obviously no points, but maintaining 4th in the constructors is always a positive. Good gap still to Suomi in 5th. So I mean, I can't complain really.
So this weekend, of course, it's obviously a track that your team has obviously done well at in the past. Because obviously Giovinazzi won here last season, so you'll be hoping for another strong weekend, you'd have to say.
Yes, hopefully. I'm really, really just hoping that both cars do finish this weekend, because that's kind of been a theme of the season. There's not really been many races where both cars have finished, and I just think for a momentum builder for the end of the season, it'd be really important for the team if both cars finish this race.
Okay, moving on to Cameron. So Cameron, obviously, we'll start off with qualifying and then we'll get on to that main point. But obviously qualifying again, Max showing some really good pace by qualifying in third place. Was you, again, not expecting it?
Yeah, again, I was not expecting it. I thought we would be a bit quicker around Magny-Cours compared to Silverstone, so that's a positive, I suppose. But yeah, Max yet again pulling it out of the bag, and it looks like he really does have qualifying edge at the moment. Hopefully he can take the momentum with him.
Obviously it didn't turn out well in the race. Now obviously, of course, there was a huge accident for one of your drivers, Esteban Ocon, a huge crash with Felipe Massa. First of all, how is he, and what was your verdict on the accident at the time?
He's dead.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's all right now. We didn't want to confirm anything too early about how his state was, but we had all the tests on him yesterday, and it seems like he is fit enough to race this weekend. He might be a bit rusty, but he should be able to race. It was a bit of a shock at the time. To be honest, it was quite bad driving, just to dive it down the inside, just impatient really. But I don't think we would have been in that position if Perez didn't hit us. I think Perez is maybe the one to blame on that one, but yeah, he kind of made it all.
Okay, moving on then to questions. So first question from Super Jim Jim 100. For once he's actually asked a decent question. So he asked to all, what changes to the rules would you make? I will start off with George on this one.
Less EMRs.
Oh, Oliver has joined us.
Of ones.
Oh, Oliver has joined us.
Hello.
We'll get to you in a little bit, Ollie, after they answer this question. So George, do you want to start off?
I mean, I can't think of particularly many that I want off my head really, but I don't really have any comments on any rule changes I particularly like.
Yuri?
I want the chassis to work fully.
Cameron?
I just, not really a regulation change, but I think the tracks need to be focused more around entertainment than like the big name tracks.
James?
Well, I'd like a different point system, that's a start.
Yeah.
More of a fairer field, rather than one team fucking off. That's about it.
Oh, James.
You finished, James?
Yes.
Sean?
I'd like the chassis to mean more than just a name, and I'd like, I don't know, I think I'd like the engines to be more unreliable.
And Oliver, and then we'll get to your main questions, of course.
If we had one major regulation change, which I know it's never going to happen, but it would be moved to GP4.
Okay. So moving on to you, Ollie, of course, now you've just joined us. Obviously, another fantastic weekend in Magny-Cours and a second consecutive 1-2. You seem to be romping him up recently.
Yeah, it's a bit of irony. You know, I watched back the press conference on Friday. James was a little bit obsessed, so it was quite funny that his car's bottled it and we absolutely smashed it. I just want to respond to what he said about how our engine needs to be nerfed. I just want to point out in the pre-season testing there was 8 sessions. We topped 2, Martini topped 2. Who was the other one? It was another team.
James topped 2, I think.
And yes, James topped 2 as well, when it was all on equal performance. So what this really implies to me, Joe, is that James is actually very bad at developing, whereas we are, now get this, very good at developing.
Yeah, can I just make a statement? We've obviously both used all our tokens up, so we can't upgrade anymore. And plus, you swapped your drivers. I kept the same drivers in testing, so it's not really a fair.
Well, James, the stats don't lie. I topped 2 sessions. Cam topped 2 sessions.
In an illegal car.
You.
It wasn't illegal at that point.
I'm just saying, James. The car isn't overpowered. It's the development that's better. It's not an overpowered car. We've been plenty in the season 1. RBA had the better car. We had shit reliability. We've just sorted out our reliability, which is why we're quick. Our reliability was our problem.
Okay, so obviously moving on to this weekend, of course, it is, as I've mentioned earlier in the stream, BMW's home race, your energy supplier, of course. But it's a track that has actually dogged you in the past. Obviously, last season, neither of them scored points. It seemed that the pair of them made contact with each other, and season 2 wasn't anything to come by either. So I'm guessing this is one where you want to rewrite the script.
Yeah, we had a similar incident where both cars didn't score points at the French Grand Prix. That's kind of how we allowed, Bud Light Lime to keep us a little bit honest in the championship. I'd also like to point out that I think that all the manufacturers' engines, apart from Ferrari, it's our home race. So I don't really think that's much of an important deal either. But yeah, it's a fun track. As Cameron mentioned a minute ago, I prefer tracks where there's some overtaking. I think Silverstone the version was almost pretty awful. In the French Grand Prix, there was just that hairpin where you can make overtakes. So, but then again, that French Grand Prix had plenty of crashes, including, I believe, Sebastian Vettel getting himself a qualifying ban, James.
Okay, so next question then. Well, it was already covered anyway, that same question, so I won't go with that. I'll go to this one instead from Cameron778. He asks, well, I have no idea who that is.
You better be asking yourself a question.
It is, actually. Basically, there was a rumour that popped up about Fernando Alonso recently, about him potentially joining a new team next season. Is this in any way true, Oliver?
He's joining us.
We
Who said that?
We did have a team contact us about his employment, and we turned around and said, not really at the moment.
I'm just going to put it out there. Was it the same team that asked every team at some point for one of their drivers?
Well, you could imagine.
Is the team owner's
the
first
thing is, though, there's 2 teams. I think one of the teams I think you're mentioning is Martini, but then on the other hand, is if it's a team I think it is, Sean.
Contact about Alonso.
No, we've just established that, Cameron.
Yeah.
If it's a team I think you're on about, Sean, which may be Bright Yellow, then yes, that is correct.
Yes, it is the Bright Yellow squad.
Yes. They offered him. We said no. They went and tried to put money that they didn't have. We then said no. They then tried to sign Daniel Ricciardo. We said no. They then tried to sign Lewis Hamilton. Our response was no. He then tried to buy Charles Leclerc, and I said no, but you can have him on loan. And he said how much? And I said 50 million. He said no. And then we settled for 5. So there you go. It's a lot of
impressive.
Alonso's going. I'll confirm to you now, Joe. Alonso's going to our IndyCar team, which I think everyone but you know.
Yeah. Well, it just hasn't been confirmed yet. That's why.
That's where he's going.
Yeah, we kind of established. So
to Cameron778, whoever that could possibly be, no, as you mentioned earlier, he's not going to me.
It was kind of like a speculation thing since that popped up the other day.
It was the bright yellow car.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Someone's asked themselves a question.
I might as well do it then because it happened before. Question to Oliver from OTG at Game TW. Who is your biggest rival?
Probably the back mark, so Mars. Those are the cars we get closest to.
Not answering that, Cameron. Asking that. So, next question I have is...
Grand new battery!
Oh, for God's sake. I might as well just stop about this.
That's pathetic.
I might as well just stop with all these related to country questions now, shouldn't I? It's getting a bit out of hand. So, next question I have is... Obviously, it's the old version of Hockenheim we're using for this season. I just want to ask, because I asked this similar question in Mexico, which version of Hockenheim do you prefer, the old one or the current one? I'll start off with Yuri.
The old one has better races.
Oliver?
I prefer the current layout because it's quicker, better overtaking opportunities. The longer one just seems to go on and on forever. It's too many straights, and with these cars as well, they're going to max out really early.
Stupid question.
Cameron?
Yeah, okay.
God, I can't.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Okay.
What was the question?
Oh, grow up.
What? Answer the question, Joe.
Well, what did you answer with? You and me?
I can't remember, mate. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Which one do you prefer? The old version of Hockenheim or the current one? It's a simple answer, Cameron.
I don't know the difference. I can't
Old or
remember.
current?
Don't. Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear.
Right, should we move on to the next question? Yeah, pass.
Oh, fuck's sake, Cameron.
Right,
Yeah,
I'll move on to another one.
Please ask the
Sean?
question.
It's an unpopular opinion to have, but me and Oliver do share it. The current version is just simply better in every way.
George?
I prefer the old one.
James?
New one.
Cameron, are you going to answer this time, or...?
Right, I've had a think about it. Let me just Google it.
Oh, for God's sake.
God's sake.
Moving on.
No. Come on now, Joe. Give me this. My chance. Oh my God, it's
the
pretty
old one
much
just
an
had
oval.
one big ass straight.
Right then, pretty much an oval.
Why is Robert Ionescu watching the stream but not taking part?
Because apparently his Skype's not working.
I prefer the new one.
Okay. So, 4 against 2 there then. So, for new. So, next question then is to Oliver, and it's from El Grande Padre 1234.
No. It's before that.
No, I said I was going to stop that, Cam, because it was getting out of control.
Why? No, it's not a rude one. It's rude.
It's not rude, it was just getting out of control.
Question.
Anyway, so to Oliver, it's from El Grande Padre 1234. I'm still convinced that's Robert Ionescu.
But just put.
He asks, since this track has a lot of straights and you have the best heading, how hard do you expect to dominate? I don't know if he wrote that wrong, to be honest.
It's meant to be. I think it's meant to be witty and clever, which you'd imagine I wrote it, but I didn't. Yeah, I don't expect to dominate because this track is where the GRM's won, if you remember. So this track can really throw a spanner in the works. We have got a good engine, a good package, and hopefully we can keep our good run of 1-2s going. But we are due a bit of bad luck because we haven't had some for a while since Cota. So yeah, it could be a one shift. Hope for the best.
Okay. Next question then is from MotoGX Gaming TW. Still have no idea what that is. Question for all. I don't know if anybody wants to get the old giggle box out, but he asks, have you seen Perez and how ill he is?
I'm sorry, he has gonorrhea.
In a dodgy curry.
I don't think.
You see, I'll tell you what happened. I know exactly.
No, listen to this, right? Robert Ionescu says he has a cold.
Let me tell you what actually happened, right?
Computer virus. Oh, sit down. Oh, bro,
Hilarious. Anyway, what my point was just going to be that he went home to his family during the break and he had some tap water and he's now critically ill. That's all.
Wouldn't everyone be ill driving that Eldorado?
There's so much AIDS in that car.
Yeah, headaches. You get headaches just from looking at delivery.
Okay. I think everybody's pretty much got the same opinion there. Next question then. It's the second time that this fellow today has actually came up with an actually genuine question.
Is it Cameron 778?
No, it's Super Jim Gin 100. And it's two.
Oh!
He asks, which team is going to do better, Mars or Shadow?
Shadow. They are backed by what can only be described as a fantastic team.
Next question, also from Super Jim Gin 100. Which German track do you prefer? I'll start off with James.
Noise ring.
Noise.
I just want to point out that the Kaiser Bob 99 in the chat is asking El Grande Padre, which is himself, a question. So he's now asking himself questions in the Twitch chat. It's got to a point where I worry if he has any.
I think some people here they've taken role playing too far. You're asking yourself questions when you're not even within the thing yourself. It just kind of.
When Joe starts rubbing in us, he gets his own Ferrari shirt on and hat and just starts interviewing himself.
Yes, it was pretty good. You know, we had good session. I had fun to do that.
He puts on a little mustache so he pretends it's not him.
George.
No.
I mean, I don't mind the German tracks. I mean, I think Nürburgring's alright. I like Hockenheim. I don't really have a particular favourite, to be honest.
Sure.
Oschersleben.
Right, Cameron.
This one's alright, isn't it?
Hockenheim then. Ollie.
I want to see the full Nürburgring. I want to see you sit there for 5 hours straight.
So Neuschleife then.
It only be about 5 laps.
No, they actually did 13 back in the day, didn't they, around that track? Jeez. Yuri?
I like the Nürburgring more.
Okay.
El Gran Padre 1234 has revealed itself.
Next question is from OTGX Gaming TW. Question to James. He asks, when will you drop to third?
When you drop down second.
Okay.
So next season. When your car inevitably wins.
Next question then is from Cameron778. To everyone, what engine do you expect to be the best next season? Start with Yuri.
The one that will be the best. I don't know. The best engine will be the best engine.
I absolutely love him.
Oh, Yuri.
George?
I think Yuri's pretty much summed it up perfectly there.
He's gone into a fucking tea, does. I think that's the only answer we need. We can move on now.
You're going to take Yuri's answer then?
Yes, I think you're the best.
No, I think the correct answer is James's engine.
Oh, it's been revealed. El Grande Padre is in fact the troll known as Ren's Jam.
It's not, Joe. He's just doing that to cover his tracks.
Well, if that's
It's all
the
a
case, I'm
facade.
blocking after this. So, anyway, so there's no more questions in the chat at the moment.
I'll ask a question, don't you worry, Joe.
I'd love to see what questions Juru would ask. What is your favourite type of car?
One that has four wheels.
To Joe, when's the webcam coming out? Never.
I like car that has 4 wheels and a gearbox.
Sponsored by Pepsi Max.
I'm actually drinking one, to be honest.
Joe, do the slogan!
Yes, Joe, we know. You crack them open every stream.
I actually cracked it open before the stream, so...
Just cracks on his head.
The taste
John, no, use can or pan.
You know what, Joe? Why don't you ask some questions that aren't the bog standard normal ones that you always ask?
Oh, really?
Someone like Joe, said everyone where. We'll start with James. I wear a triple XL. I've got massive tits.
Oh, actually, speaking of James, Super Jim 100 asks to Sean, if you have the third best car, how well do you think Monster GP will be? How much sense does that make?
You know what? I'm gonna say 42, and that's my final answer.
If someone has the third best car, does that mean that James has the fourth best car?
Thank you for the compliment, then, James. You know, if you're trying to say you're the fourth best car, I mean, that may as well overtake it this weekend. So you
Technically
know.
means that the second best car is just Max Verstappen.
Yes, lad!
Okay. Next question then is from Kaiserbob99, some random geezer.
Some random kid.
George and Yuri.
He asked to George and Yuri, you have the same engines, yet there's a big difference in pace between your cars. Why is that? George, you want to start?
I'll take a lot of fucking guess, like. It's not fucking difficult.
Keep me that man. He's just back out on you there.
Like, take 2 plus 2, the chassis doesn't mean shit. They've got the same engine and different drivers. What could possibly be different?
I think the main reason why is mainly because I was a bit slow with my upgrading, really. So that's why I'm behind, and I'm still not finished with my full upgrades. But I'm not going to catch Suomi because they're well ahead. So that's the reason why they're ahead. Pretty much. That's that's as simple as that.
Yuri?
Yeah, they just haven't upgraded enough. Also, we have one driver that's nearly third in the championship, so that's also something that makes a difference.
Okay. Sorry, OTGX Gaming, I'm not answering that one. And I'm not asking that one, James, either. You've let your send down again.
Did Hitler immigrate to Argentina after World War II? Discuss. Why? Why that? Why that piece of conspiracy theory history did you specifically pick to put in chat?
What? Say that again. Is this something that should be discussed?
No.
No.
I think I think we can kind of confirm James has got some very extreme views.
Can we please ask the question again?
The question was, did Hitler immigrate to Argentina after World War II? Discuss.
He didn't immigrate to Argentina, he immigrated to Yorkshire and is now Red Jams.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I be killing Jews, and I be killing Jews.
Okay.
Peggy 16.
I'll answer this question for you, OTG. Why do you always say after a big crash and well that's that then? Because my name's Joseph Willows, that's why.
Well, that's that then. Ocon nearly dies. Well, that's that then.
That's me. What, you think that if I see somebody getting stabbed outside, I'll go, well, that's that then?
So, 9/11. Well, that's that then.
There's not much you can do. Like, yeah, that's the only answer you can really give. Some geese has been slit in the throat in the street. Sure, look.
Probably. I might as well ask this because obviously we've got an IndyCar announcement on Tuesday. From Cameron778, who will win IndyCar in your opinion? I'll start off with, well, in fact, I'll just ask it to the teams that are in IndyCar, in fact, because in fact that's 4 out of 6 of you. So, Ollie?
My heart says Fernando Alonso, but my head says like Joseph Newgarden.
Cameron?
An EMR driver.
James?
Same team and driver that won last year.
And Sean?
I haven't a fucking idea.
Who's good at IndyCar, Sean?
Who's good at IndyCar? Joseph Newgarden. Yeah, we'll go with him. Go for Newgarden.
Racing for Mars, isn't it?
Next question from Super Jim 100.
100?
100. He asks, I'm going to guess what the majority are going to say anyway.
Why have you guessed mine out?
Whether it's been... Because that makes no freaking sense.
Lads, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel for questions now.
He
Come
asks,
on.
should IFMC race at the Birmingham Super Prix? I'm going to say no. What's everybody else going to say?
Pricks or prey? I don't think you say it pricks, do you?
No, it's pronounced Birmingham.
Why are you calling everyone in Birmingham a super prick?
Well, then again, you do, James. And then somebody has to ask the question straight after that. Should IFMC race at stadiums used by the World Cup?
What?
That's what El Grande Padre has just asked.
Well,
Nice
no.
to see Robert
Move on.
Ionescu has kept that really funny sense of humour. I know,
Let's
mate,
see.
it's good for you.
So let's see if you've kept your human up. And OTG, who's bigger, EMR or the Hedgehog?
How the fuck is that comparison?
Hedgehogs are small and dainty creatures, and your team is just minuscule.
Okay, here's a better question. What's bigger, EMR or bacteria?
To be fair, Greek bacteria serves a purpose.
EMR or Bob's belly.
I'll just... I'll ask this one question to you on the Twitch chat, and then we'll move on to the final question. From Cameron778.
I believe the word you're looking for is thrive, Cameron, not strive. Read it out, Joe.
Who will be the okay, he asked, who will be the team to thrive through
Joe,
the
read
second
out.
half of the season? I'll start off with Sean.
I've got to be honest with you. I don't know anyone who has thrived in their life. Well, if I'm gonna go for anyone, I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for Mars. You know, you can't do worse than 0.
Unless your name's GB Racing. George?
As long as it's us, I'm happy with that.
James?
GB Racing.
They don't exist.
Hilarious, James.
Yuri?
What was the question again?
Oh, Christ. I was waiting for that to happen. Who will be the team to thrive through in the second half of the season? Not strive, thrive.
I don't know.
He's not gonna have a fucking idea. Like, come on.
Oliver?
I reckon that Martini is just strive.
And Cameron?
AMP.
This season.
Right,
Have you
okay.
ever, has anyone ever, have you ever listened to the F1 theme tune on Sky Sports Listen Lab? He actually says just strive.
Alright, I'll ask this one final question, then move on to the actual final question from my end. Super Jim 100 asks, should GP3 be renamed? I'll start off with... Well, actually, who wants to come in first on that?
Can I just ask? Can I get some clarification to the question? Do they mean the game GP3 or the GP3 series?
Series. So IFMC GP3.
Well, no, because it's still called GP2. So why would you call it F1 GP2? No, but that's what I'm trying to say. Unless you're changing the name of GP2 as well, what's the point?
James?
Well, it's not directly a feeder series, is it? Because you've got all these old blokes racing down there. It's like Formula E.
You asked a question that you've just been waiting to answer this, haven't you? You've been planning out what your response was going to be.
I still can't fucking give it coherently.
Who just gave out that snorty noise there?
It was George.
What?
One of his little kids in the closet trying to get out and he got a bit annoyed.
Jesus Christ.
Get back into me! Get back in!
George.
I don't really see the point of it being renamed, so yeah, that's my answer for that one.
Yuri?
I don't think it needs to be renamed.
Oliver?
I think we should make it IFMC F1, F2 and F3. Because at the moment it's IFMC.
And Cameron?
I don't think it needs to be renamed, but I kind of agree with James that there shouldn't be all the old guys. I think it should be for youth.
What the fuck are the old guys meant to do
That was
then?
the purpose of the whole
Piss
thing.
off to IndyCar or like Formula E or just...
Okay.
Just-
We can't make a series for every motorsport that ever existed just because we want some old fogies in there.
Just say they retire or die or something then.
He died at age 34 of crippling arthritis.
Anyway, moving on then to the final question. So if I didn't get to ask everybody's, and sorry, answer everybody's. So the final main question is, what's everybody's expectations by the end of the weekend? I'll start off with George.
Hoping, as the track has fortunately favoured us in the past, that we can get some points. That's my main aim, really.
James?
I'd like some points from both cars.
Sean?
I'd love to absolutely smash Eldorado's cars into the barrier without punishment, then beat him into third in the constructors.
Okay.
Yuri?
To gain points on the close teams.
Cameron?
To take sixth in the championship.
And Oliver?
My expectation here, Mark, complain about something.
Okay, and with that, that is the end of the press conference. Thank you to Yuri, Oliver, Cameron, Sean, George, and James. And that is it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you guys tomorrow at 1 PM BST for the qualifying session for the top class and the feature race for GP2 and race 1 of IFMC GP3. Until then, take care.